In today's video, I want to take you through a process that I use in my content strategy to actually look backwards instead of forward to look for opportunities to create very specific, keyword-specific traffic, and more importantly, lead generating traffic. So we're actually ending the year. We're in December at this point, and I think so often in November, December, we start thinking, particularly in our content marketing strategies, about kind of the new year, the new topics that we want to focus on, the new content we want to create. We get really excited about the new thing and creating the new thing. But so often, if you're an organization who has created content for a while, or you're like Kaleidico, we're a digital agency that's been in business well over 15 years, and the actual example that I'm going to use today is our own website. There is probably a lot of content that you've already created that's right on the nose of what you're trying to rank for and the audience that you're trying to gain, but for a variety of reasons, it's just simply not ranking well enough in Google in order to get you that traffic. So I'm going to show you a process that will allow you to very efficiently leverage content that you've already created and bring that up to a quality and a level that it will start to gain the traffic. And it's far more efficient, of course, than just creating new content and just adding to the pile. So let's dive into, as you can see, I've got a checklist here of 11 things that I'm going to kind of walk you through, but I'm going to literally show you the process on my screen. So let me jump this out of the way. First and foremost, it's always important in my mind to actually get it down and document what you're doing. So often we're thinking theoretically about things. Maybe we're writing on some whiteboards, but the execution never really gets taken place because the documentation is not there, or we haven't kind of clearly thought it out and written it out such we can kind of step through, break it into little chunks and get it done. So that's exactly what I've done here. So for our content strategy, our audience, this is the first element of that checklist. We want to think about who our audience is, who we're trying to attract, and we want to get very specific. So in our case, we're looking to attract and add to our audience marketing directors, CMOs, and growth teams. And here's where we get specific, that very specifically have a performance objective from whoever they report to actually grow traffic and lead production via their website or digital channel in 2020. And again, we're even going to get one layer more specific. We're going to say ideally they're already thinking about doing this via their website, probably a redesign, as well as lead generation, SEO, PPC, content, and email. It's the little package that we know works specifically well in order to grow your lead traffic. And then from there, I actually outline the very specific topics that I want to focus on. And you can see this creates the little package that ultimately creates an effective, and we know a lead generation system that will actually produce leads each and every time. So the next step after I've kind of defined who I'm looking for is I'm going to jump into my editorial calendar. This is the one you can see we've already kind of got topics in here. But when we're actually building out for this portion of the strategy, I don't want to get this granular and be thinking about specific topics. I actually want to jump back up to that category list. I want to list them out. I want to kind of rank the ones that I want to focus on. And this is the topics, these are the keywords that I'm going to use to begin doing my research. Then from here, I'm going to jump over to my analytics. And usually the first place that I want to take a look is I'm going to go into my traffic area, or actually my behavior area. And I'm going to look at the site content. I'm going to look at my landing pages. Now, in this initial analysis, I'm looking for things that I can leverage towards this rewrite strategy that I'm using. So I'm looking for past pages that potentially already rank or potentially are on target for the topics that I want to rank for, but for whatever reason, they're not getting a lot of traffic. And you can see I've got some of these down here, web design. I can easily sort through here and look for my first topic. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to start to collect the data where these articles are. And I don't know why that didn't actually bring anything up. Probably did some, there you go. I needed that dash in there. Anyway, so you can see I've already got like 7 articles here that I've already written about web design, not getting a lot of traffic, but these are all candidates for rewrites. So the other place that I'm looking in here is I'm going back to my acquisition panel here, and I'm looking in Search Console. If you don't have Search Console set up inside of Google Analytics, you will have to go over to what used to be Webmaster Tools and go find that. But essentially what you're looking for in your Search Console is you're looking for searches that are related to the topics that you're focused on. And again, we're going to use the search. What this is telling me here is I'm not getting any clicks for these, but I am getting impressions. So Google says, hey, you've got something in your content that is actually about this topic, and you're potentially getting impressions as people go down there, but we don't have anything, none of the pages that you've produced so far are of a quality to actually get up into that first page and actually be of a quality for us to give you traffic. So I can start to think about these keywords. These are keywords that I already kind of have an anchor for, and potentially can enhance this with a title and a rewrite that actually focuses on these particular topics if they fit with my strategy. So the queries are important, and then of course my landing pages are important as well. So I'm going to do this same search against landing pages, and again, I've kind of already done this with the traffic that I get, but this is actually in Google Console, so it's going to tell me impressions that I get. So potentially I've got pages that don't get any traffic at all, but they're going to have that topic and they're going to be getting impressions. So you can see here 0 clicks, so there's no traffic, so they may not show up in that other screen. But when I look here, I definitely have some web design related pages that are getting a significant or have an opportunity to get a significant number of impressions. So this is all data gathering, again, so that I can help look for and focus on these pages and potentially start to gather these pages up. So web design standards, corporate web design inspiration, these are all pages that I definitely want to rewrite because they're on the mark for the type of customer. The last tool that I use is Ubersuggest, and I go through here and I start to, when I'm actually thinking about the rewrites, I will want to put my keywords in here to see the type of pages that are actually ranking here. It'll give me an idea of the topics and the trends and the concepts and even the page structures that Google is rewarding with rankings and traffic. So this is another part of my research. Then the very last step that I'm going to do is then I'm going to go back to my site and I'm going to do this site search. So it's site:/kaleidico.com, and then I'm going to use the keywords that I'm trying to find articles to rewrite. And I'm simply going to do this. What this is doing is it's actually doing a site search. It's searching inside of Google's index only for the things that they have indexed from my site, and then we're specifically looking for that search. So again, very similar. We're going to start to see redundancies in this analysis of the pages that we're finding and identifying, but then I'm going to simply start opening these up and looking at these pages and then grabbing them and gathering them into my rewrite editorial calendar. And then as I'm rewriting, page structure then becomes important. So once I've got a rewrite, there's a couple things that I'm going to do as I publish these to make them rank better. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing internal links to other important content, potentially landing pages that I have. You can see how I've done that internal linking. I'm going to make sure I have calls to action to actually turn that traffic into leads. And so I've used this little one. We're probably going to actually change this a little bit and put a form up here to get a little bit more aggressive with our lead generation. And then the last thing that I do is related or recommended reading. I like to link out to other related posts on my website, but also importantly to external websites so that Google watches us kind of being a good citizen and externally linking. And then the very last thing after I publish is I'm going to use a strategy. And here's an example. There's a couple different ones out there, but I like Dustin Stout's approach to this. Is I'm going to build out a content social media promotion strategy around each of these new rewrites to make sure that they get out in front of people, in addition to hopefully what they're going to get from Google search. And he's got a really great way of building out 30 days worth of social media promotion by essentially taking each article, structuring it into some data sets, and then mixing and matching to create very quickly 30 different posts through a bunch of different channels in 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to link to this, encourage you to take a look at that. So that's my strategy. This is how you can get the most from the content that you've already created. turn them into rewrites, and do a little bit better job promoting them and getting them up into that search engine so that you can get more traffic and more leads out of content that's already on your site.